Well, one thing John Mara just told the beat reporters who are at the Giants today is it was he who initiated the conversation with general manager Jerry Reese to say maybe we need to look at the other quarterbacks. They're being very honest about it. They know they're going to have a very high draft pick and that they will be in a position to take one of the quarterbacks who will be at the top part of this draft class. He said, this is not going to give us all the information you need, but it's better than nothing. So he wants to see the young quarterbacks too. He did say perhaps it could have been handled differently. They really expected, it sounds like, Eli Manning to go along with the idea of continuing to start games and then giving way at some point to the younger guys. They were taken aback when he did not go along with this plan. So that's why the Giants are now in a position of you're allowing Ben McAdoo to be the coach that benches Eli Manning, even though, let's face it, Ben McAdoo may not be around much longer.
Well, you're right, Judy, and there's a couple things to kind of take a look at here. First of all, there was obviously a lot of discussion about how the Giants could have handled this better. I'm not really sure how, when you consider the fact that you have a GM, you have a coach, and obviously you have an owner in John Mara, who need to know the answer of whether or not they need to make a $25 million gamble and taking a quarterback in the top 5. They need all the answers. The only way to do that is to tell Eli Manning, we need to evaluate the guys behind you. First, Geno Smith, and then obviously Davis Webb. It is a cruel game. Rarely do you see 37-year-old players get to decide their own fate. And obviously some of the criticism coming to the Giants from this are people who believe Eli should have been able to decide when he exits the field, but we don't even know when he's actually going to exit the field. He could be back next year helping groom a young quarterback. This is just, Andrew, part of the process to help the Giants get there.
And those are good points here, Ian, and Judy as well. And listen, John Mara said that he does think Eli Manning's going to play football somewhere next year. Judy, as you pointed out, he will listen, Mara said, to Eli in the offseason, and he said that there was no guarantee when pressed that Ben McAdoo would even stay on the rest of this year. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said there are no guarantees in life. So you guys don't read anything into the fact that we had a coach and a GM that are seemingly in all kinds of hot water, that John Mara allowed them to do this. You won't read into their future by the fact that they did this.
No, I don't think it's that John Mara allowed them to do it. I think it's John Mara wanted them to do it. He wants to see what they've got on the roster right now in quarterbacks. So the fact that it's these people who are doing it are just because they're in the position at the time. He was very clear today, again, in his comments to reporters who are out there, that they have a lot of big decisions ahead of them. This is merely a way for them to get some more information that they're going to need before they make one of the big decisions about going forward, perhaps to draft a quarterback. But no, I don't think we should read anything into this about, does this mean that McAdoo and Reese's jobs are safe? Again, as you pointed out, Andrew, he was asked directly, is Ben McAdoo safe for the rest of the year? And he wouldn't even go that far today.
All right, Ian, let's go back to the conversation that we had earlier today when we had the Ben McAdoo press conference about Geno Smith, because I think a lot of people are looking at this and saying, I get it if you wanted to bench Eli for Davis Webb. We spent a third-round pick on him. We do think there is a chance he is the future. And it's difficult to have this conversation without seemingly disrespecting Geno. I think the guy can play in this league. I do think that it ended badly. He deserved a better shot there with the Jets. People just laugh at Geno, fair or foul, about his tenure with the Jets sometimes. But to bench him for Geno Smith when really most of the world doesn't think Geno Smith is the future quarterback of the Giants, but they do think there's a chance Davis Webb could be that guy. So why don't you just wait until weeks 14, 15, whatever, when Davis Webb is ready to play?
Because most of the world doesn't get a vote, and it's the evaluators with the Giants, including John Mara, who we all know how involved he is in football, including Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese, whether or not he is there actually making the decisions or not. We do not know whether or not Geno Smith is capable of starting next year for the Giants or next week for the Giants. We mentioned his play. He was going to start for the rest of the year for the Jets before he tore his ACL. He was going to be the start of the year before he got punched in the face in an argument with a teammate with the Jets. We really don't know. And so, of course, everyone wants to see Davis Webb, who could also be a starter in the NFL. But part of the reason is they haven't seen him yet. We really don't know. And what the Giants are trying to do, as they should do, is just get some answers.
Judy, what do you think of all that?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. They've got to find out what they have on their roster. I think part of the reaction to Geno Smith is because, of course, it's in New York, and so
Sure.
all of the fans, saw what happened at the Jets and how it played out. I'm not sure he got the most fair shake at the Jets, by the way. They do need to see what they have, and I understand that. My takeaway from this is I think it could have been handled better somehow. I do think the Giants were taken aback that Eli did not go along with the idea of continuing to start and then maybe giving way at halftime to the younger guys. And that's what sort of set this bizarre chain of events in motion. But I agree with the idea that they need to see something from these young guys. They have huge, huge decisions on the horizon coming up in only a few weeks. Who knows who's going to be making those decisions? But we do know one person for sure who's going to be involved in the decisions, and that's John Mara, the owner of the franchise. And when he tells Jerry Reese, his general manager, what about seeing the younger guys? That's when it's time to see the other guys.